2024 was by far the most I've ever knitted or crocheted in a year, and I'm running out of space. Okay, I feel like everyone made their what I made in 2024 videos like at the very end of December, and I'm just late to the party and I'm doing it in January. Regardless, I still wanted to show everything I made in 2024. So just to preface, I don't have everything with me that I've made this year, just because over the year I've gifted a lot of the things I've made to my friends. So if I've made a video on a specific piece of clothing and you don't see it here in the video, it's because I've gifted it away to other people. I don't wear everything that I make, so I think it's not very fair to just have it collect dust. If someone else is going to love it, then I'm just going to gift it. Also, rather than doing this chronologically, I'm going to do this in different categories, such as like tops, accessories, different sets that I've made, just so that it's a bit easier for me to think about. I can't actually remember when I exactly made a lot of these things, so that will be a lot easier for me. I don't really make many accessories. I don't know why. I think it's mainly just because I tend to like bigger pieces, especially making sweaters, vests, tops. That's where I get the most fun out of crocheting and knitting. But this year I did actually make a couple things. So the first they'll show is the Avatar scarf. This I made for my like Avatar inspired outfits videos. This is supposed to be Aang's arrow, and I actually don't wear this that much. I don't know what type of yarn I bought. I think I either got it from Hobby or Lovecraft, but regardless, it's really itchy for me. And obviously this is going to be around your neck in the winter time, so it's just a little bit too itchy for me to wear. So this is definitely one of those items that I'll probably gift away, but I really am happy with how this turned out. It's so cute. I think it's an easy just like thing to wear that has something Avatar The Last Airbender related on it, but it isn't super obvious. Like you wouldn't know unless you could see the arrow, I feel like. The last thing that's in this category are cat hats. Now, I made a cat hat, I want to say like 2 years ago during the Christmas time, and there's just such a fast project to churn out. And I thought it was really cute just to have a bunch of cat hats during New Year's Eve and Christmas time. It's just fun to wear, and it's different than like an ugly sweater. Also, I feel like for me, I have the unrealistic expectation for myself to make an ugly sweater. So I didn't have time to do that this year. So I just made a cat hat instead. And that was my way of like sticking to an ugly Christmas sweater theme. So I made these two here. I made this red and white one with bows. And then there's this pin. I used to make a bunch of like polymer clay pins during like 2020, 2021 during the pandemic, and I made this little pine tree with snow on it, and I thought it was fitting for it being Christmas colors, so I put it on the bottom of this hat just to decorate it a little bit. I also have pretty much the same hat, just in a different color variants of green and white. This one I made for my boyfriend so that we could match during Christmas and both have cat hats, so that's what I did. Okay, next I have vests. Vests are probably one of my favorite things to make because I tend to wear baggy things. It looks a bit more casual. You don't have to make sleeves, so it doesn't take as long. I don't know, something about vests I really like. The first one I have here is the Appa vest that I made for the Avatar The Last Airbender concert. I do have a video on this vest. This is probably one of my favorite things that I've embroidered. So if you see a lot of my color work, most of the time, if it's something not super complicated, it is using duplicate stitch. So the Appa in this scenario is duplicate stitched. And I really like how this turned out. I think I found like a pixel art grid of this online and used that as a reference to make him, but I think he looks so cute. I don't wear this as often as I'd like because I feel like Appa being on the vest definitely like brands it as a, oh yeah, you definitely like Avatar The Last Airbender, which isn't a bad thing, but I don't know, sometimes you want to be a bit more inconspicuous. Regardless, this is showing me that I need to wear this more often because it is such a cute vest. And honestly, it being white makes it really wearable. So I don't know, I feel like I should make more outfits with this. This next vest that I have is my whale shark vest. And this is probably one of my more like worn items out of all the things I've made. I made this back in January. I think this might have been like the first or second project that I made last year. I'm just so happy with how this turned out. It's super baggy. I love the colors and I love the little whale shark. I get so many compliments on this vest anytime I wear it. It's so cool because I think it's pretty obvious that you can't really find something like this at stores. So some people will ask me like if I've made it, or maybe it just looks bad and people can tell that it's handmade. I don't know. Regardless, I get asked a lot if I made this vest myself. Yes, I love getting that question. I don't know. It's very much of my style. I love the colors. I've just gotten way more use out of this vest than I ever thought I would. I can't remember what yarn I specifically used for this though. I think it was an alpaca yarn from, I know the name of the yarn brand. I'll put it at the bottom here if I can remember. But this yarn does pill quite a bit. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that I wear frequently does pill. So if you have a good recommendation for something to depill all of my vests, please let me know because that would be very, very handy. So everything I've shown up until this point are all things that I think I just made myself. I didn't have a pattern for it, but this vest here is one of the items that I actually did use a pattern for. This is the Moby Slipover by Petite Knit. This is a very popular pattern, whether you make the slipover or I've seen people make the sweater of this as well. It's a very popular pattern. I really, really love this sweater. The cables look so nice. It's a pretty easy pattern to make despite how difficult it looks, just because the cables are so, so pretty. I made this using probably the most expensive yarn I've ever bought. It's the La Bien Ami? I think that's how you say the yarn brand. But I bought this yarn in Seattle when I went over the summer. I had to pick it up because the color was so beautiful. It's just so vibrant. I just really gravitated towards this color. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. One thing though is I definitely wish I bought just one more hank of it because it is a little bit shorter than I wanted it to be. I feel like I struggle a lot of the time with petite knit patterns because I'm just a short person and sometimes her patterns are too long in the torso, so then I like overcorrect it and make it too short. Regardless, thought I would have enough yarn, didn't, but it's okay. It still fits fine. It's just a little bit cropped. But if this has been on your list of items to make, I definitely recommend it because I probably finished this in like less than a week. It's a super fast knit. Again, this is something I also gravitate towards all the time. I love wearing this specifically to work. It's so vibrant. Okay, this next category is kind of weird. It's just a lot of tops and tanks, things that wouldn't really fit in a vest category, but also things that wouldn't fit in a sweater category. It's all of those. So first off, I have the Heartless top by Midsummer Knits. I really like this pattern and I need to make it again because, and this is totally my fault, this isn't the pattern's fault, I didn't read the pattern. I bought a wire that was too thick, so the gauge was too big, because you can kind of see the wire poking out at the bottom here, and it makes it really hard to wear this top. I should have read the pattern more closely and actually look at the correct gauge size I would need for the wire, but I overshot a little bit and bought one that was too thick, and it makes it really hard to move the wire around because of it. Regardless though, this top is super, super cute. I can't wait to wear this during the summer, probably just to fix the wire issue. I'll probably just clip it a little bit, remedy it that way. But again, this is yarn that I bought while I was in Seattle. I think this yarn I specifically picked up at Pike Place Market, but I think the multicolored pinks and oranges go really well with the heart theme of this top. So next I have the Daphne top by Friday Knits. It's this magenta yarn that I bought from a yarn fair, and this is hand-dyed yarn. So it's this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous magenta color and has speckles of just deeper reddish purples in it. It's so pretty. I love this pattern. Not only was it so fun to make, but it's just so beautiful. I love the like blouse construction of it with the puffy sleeves, the back of it with just this like ribbing makes it kind of look like a corset. I love it. I made this for one of my videos. It's the My Melody inspired knits and crochets video, I think. Pink is very much my melody, so, and just how girly it is. I think it fit the theme of the video. Friday Knits has also been on my list of pattern makers that I've wanted to make something from their catalog for a really long time, and I'm really glad I finally got to do that this year. I haven't made any more of her stuff, but I want to. She has so many beautiful patterns, and I think she has a dress version of this too, if I'm not incorrect. I don't know, maybe I'll have to make a dress for the springtime. We'll see. This next one is a crochet pattern. This is the Lyra top by Yajia here on YouTube. It's a free pattern. I'll link all of the patterns, written ones, and the videos in the description below if you're interested in any of these. The Lyra top was one of those projects that I just needed a scrap yarn project, made this really quick, and somehow this became my most worn item in the last year. The red I used for a different project, so I just wanted to get rid of the extra bulk that I had from that project, just because crochet uses a lot more yarn than knitting does. Anytime I wear this top, I get so many compliments because it just snatches me in all the right places. I love the sleeves and how it's kind of like a cup a little bit, like a cap sleeve. Yeah, cap sleeve. I feel like a lot of the things that I make, I can't wear going out to a bar. It's just not the right vibe, but this top, I can put it on with a nice pair of jeans, nice shoes, a purse, and that will be like a perfectly fine going out outfit. Yeah, I really like this top. The color also is just looks really good on my skin tone, I think, which is another reason why I love it so much. Okay, the last two items in this category are actually the same pattern. It's my corset top pattern. So this is the first iteration of it and the one that I think looks the best just because this one I specifically wore to the Ren Fair this past year, and that's what I made it for. It's the corset top that I made for the Ren Fair. Again, this is using yarn that I got from a yarn fair, and it's all hand-dyed yarn from the Midwest. I sewed different ribbons, put all these beadings in just to make it super embellished in the front for the bodice. I don't know, I think it's really cute, but because it was specifically for the Ren Fair, I find myself not wearing it that often, especially because with all the beads and the ribbon, I can't really wash it that easily. I had to be very careful. When I wore this to the Ren Fair, I actually was like sweating balls because this is wool. Yeah, that's completely my fault knowing that this was wool and that I was going to the Ren Fair in the middle of the summer when it's like 80, 90 degrees out. But I really like the look that I put together, and actually someone at the Ren Fair noticed that this was crocheted and complimented me on it, so that was very sweet. And then of course I have another version of this corset top because it is a pattern that I have on my channel, so I made another version just for that video. Again, this is using yarn that is hand dyed, and then the one in the back I think is just wool yarn, but the one in the front is hand dyed by a local yarn dyer. I really like the colors of this one though. Okay, I have my next category, which are sweaters. The first sweater I have is the Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit. This sweater, I feel like anytime I wear this, people immediately know it's the Ingrid sweater. I feel like it's just a way to clock like other knitters. I've been at work wearing this sweater and someone came up to me that I have never spoken to before, asked me if this was the Ingrid sweater. I did it in this lovely, almost like a sky blue color, but not quite as pale. I think it looks really good in this color just because you can really see all of the cables, all of the different sections. It's so pretty. I did make some modifications to the sweater because, again, I'm bad at estimating how much yarn I need. So the neckline is actually shorter than it should be, but honestly, that's fine for me. I don't really love turtlenecks that much. And then the sleeves are a tad short on this. I thought the yarn would stretch a little bit more, but it didn't, but it's completely fine. Really, all that means is I have to get better at gauge swatching, and yeah, I'd like to say that I did that towards the end of the year. I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't. But sometimes it's just hard to tell with sweaters because you never know if the weight of the whole sweater itself will help it grow a bit. Anyways, if you haven't made the Ingrid sweater, you definitely should. It's such a fun knit. I literally made this within a week and wore it to Seattle. The next sweater I have is my tomato sweater. Again, this is one of my favorite things that I've made. I feel like I've been saying that for a lot of the things here. I have like a pile that's growing on the side of me. But I really love the patterns that I make that have a really big like statement piece, like the tomato, the whale shark. I just love that you have a little bit of color. I don't know why. I just like making pieces like that. They're fun to make for me. Anyways, this sweater I had quite a bit of trouble with because I was very adamant about knitting this sweater in the round, which if you're doing intarsia is not easy. So there's a bit of scrunching in the front, if you can tell, because I think I skipped a couple rows by accident when I was doing the intarsia. On the other side of it, I also ran out of the yarn that I used for the body. I ended up having to buy a completely different yarn for the sleeves, which, to be honest, you can't really tell that much. The color is a good color match, but you can definitely tell when you're wearing it. The sweaters feel a little bit thicker. It's a different yarn content. I think there's a little bit of cotton in it, whereas the base of the sweater here, I think, is either just 100% wool or like a wool acrylic blend. Because of the cotton, the sleeves look a little bit shiny, and I think it's funny because it stands out a little bit. I wish I made it all in the same yarn. I think it would have been a lot better, but regardless, I'm still really happy with how this turned out. It's a really wearable sweater despite there being a tomato on it. I think the color just makes it really easy to wear with jeans, a skirt, whatever. Like, it's a very casual sweater, which is what I like because it makes it more wearable for me. This is the Kuromi cardigan that I made that is technically still not done because I have not gotten buttons for it. I used Florence Miller's pattern. It's her step-by-step cardigan, and I used that as the base of the cardigan and added some other details like the bows and the pockets just to add some purple accents. That's how I made it Kuromi inspired. I have a whole video of making this cardigan. I think I made this in like May because it was during Memorial Day weekend that I worked on this cardigan. I don't know why, but I actually don't wear this cardigan that much. It's really cute, so I should, and I like wearing cardigans. I feel like it's just not super wearable with a lot of the things I have in my closet. Even though it is black, the purple accents kind of make it hard to wear with other things. I don't know, maybe I'll have to find a top that looks good with this, or again, give it away if I'm not going to wear it. Yeah, this is one of the projects I made this year that I completely forgot that I made. Okay, this is the last petite knit pattern that I have on my list. This is the zipper sweater, and I made it in this baby pink color. It's super pretty. I do like the pattern. My only problem with it is I think I made the neck too long because when I wear it and fold it, it's too thick, so it actually doesn't fold down and stay that way. It more stays as like a turtleneck, which I've told you before I don't really like. And while I think the color is really pretty, I actually don't gravitate towards this color of pink very frequently. I just don't think it looks that great on me. Even though this was the first project that I made last year, I ended up not really wearing it that much. So for this sweater, I'm actually thinking of frogging it and making it into just a regular crew neck. You'll learn why I'm doing that for another video. But that's always the really cool thing about knitted stuff, that if you don't like it, you can always frog it and reuse the yarn and repurpose it for something else. You don't have to go buy more yarn. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts for this zipper sweater. Okay, the last thing I have are all of the sets that I made. So these are anything that is more than just like one item of clothing. The first set I have here is the Smile tank with the arm warmers. So this I made for a Porter Robinson concert that I went to with my boyfriend. I wanted to make something just because I think it's really fun to make something specifically around a certain event. That's why for the Ren Fair, for concerts. I typically like to knit something that's dedicated towards it, knit or crochet. It's another way of remembering the concert or the event that I went to. On top of that, I don't have to buy like a souvenir like t-shirt or something like that because this already is my memento. Because this is so specific though, I have pretty much only worn this to the concert. I haven't really worn it since then, but the hand warmers are actually really nice just because they don't really say anything on it. So these I can wear more frequently. To be honest, I haven't, but this was always going to act kind of as a souvenir piece anyway, so I don't really mind if I don't wear it that frequently. The next set I have is the tank and skirt set for my cinema roll inspired outfit. So this was a set that I crocheted. I made this tank top using some blue embroidery to mark out kind of where the cups are. That way it looks almost like a bustier, and I put a little bow in the front as well. I do have a pattern for this on my channel. If you want to check it out, it's super easy, and hopefully my instructions make enough sense for it to be simple for anyone to try, even beginners. I also made a skirt to go with it. It's using, again, that blue and white. I think there's actually a row in here, a couple rows where I had to use a different white color, but to be honest, you can't really tell. I actually don't wear this set that much either, just because I don't wear a lot of pastels in my normal clothing. I feel like my knit and crochet clothes, anything that I make, is way more colorful or like pastel-y than what I normally wear. I do wear a lot of colors, but I need to stop buying yarn that's pastel colored. I actually really love the video that's associated with this project though, because I think it's currently like my most viewed video, and that's when I really started gaining subscribers. So that was super cool to actually see people enjoy the videos that I make. So this set is also kind of like a good memory of that. And last but not least, I have probably the biggest project that I made last year, which was my Your sweater dress. This I made for an anime convention because I was going to be cosplaying as Your. I wanted it to be as accurate to her on-screen outfit as possible. It is a backless sweater vest, but Your actually wears a skirt underneath the dress. So I made a skirt as well. This is using another Florence Miller pattern. I think it's called the Sporty Knit Skirt, if I'm remembering that correctly. This I have worn a couple times outside of the Your cosplay. The skirt pattern is actually a lot of fun to make. This is when I realized that I actually like making bottoms, especially skirts. So I recommend this pattern if you need a good skirt. But this project in total probably took me about a month to make. I mean, obviously it being not only a dress but a skirt took a really long time, and this is definitely one of the bigger things that I've made without really using a pattern. It was really difficult because even though this is very accurate to her outfit, it actually is a little bit loose on me because it's supposed to be off the shoulder. I should have made it a little bit tighter because I had some issues with it like falling throughout the day at the convention. Honestly, this is one of the pieces that I'm the most proud of just because of how much effort this took. I got a lot of compliments at the convention. Now, I don't necessarily know if that's because I was cosplaying as Your or people knew that I knitted this, but regardless, this is something that's good for at least me to have because I do plan on going to future anime conventions. This is nice just to have if I don't know what to wear. Okay, that was almost everything I knit in 2024. So to end out this video, I kind of wanted to leave off talking about some goals that I have for myself for 2025. I'll probably make a separate video talking about my knitting plans and crochet plans for 2025 in terms of my goals. This is what I have in mind. Like I said before, I have a big issue with picking out yarn colors that I like to knit, but I don't necessarily like to wear. I need to change that because I feel like a lot of items in my collection so far, I would actually wear more often if it was a different color. So this year I hope to be way more conscious on the yarn colors that I'm picking and making sure that they're colors that I'll actually like. And the other goal I have for myself is to start making more of my own patterns. I'm really happy because I did actually work on a lot of things this year that I didn't use a pattern. I freehanded it myself, but I would like to make more tutorials and written patterns maybe. I'm more likely to make a video, but if I get good enough reception, maybe I'll make actual written patterns as well to some of the items that I've made. I think not only is it really fun to share my patterns with other people, but I also think that I need to slow down on the amount that I'm knitting and crocheting. Obviously, it's cool to see at the end of the year like how many things that I've made, but it kind of sucks seeing that I don't actually have the opportunity to wear all of these items all the time. I want to be a little bit more conscious of what I'm making and items that I'm keeping in my closet because I genuinely want to love every single piece. If I spend more time working on patterns and working on, ideas that I have in my head, I feel like it will reduce not only the number of things that I'm making, but reduce the number of like clothes that I'm not wearing in my closet, at least in my like knitted collection and crocheted collection of clothes. So those are my two main goals. I also wanted to leave this video off by kind of reflecting on 2024 because this is when I started my YouTube channel and it surprisingly grew a lot more than I thought it would. I've never been someone that has posted a lot on social media, but I've always wanted to create a community or at least share the things that I'm making. A lot of my friends in my personal life, they aren't as fanatic about knitting or crocheting as I am. And so it's really fun to have a space on the internet to talk about it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!